What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be taking down the very final stage of the 10th anniversary battle here against the 10th anniversary part 2. So we do have more missions than ever to go along with this stage. So, you know, the biggest thing that we want to focus on is that no item clear, because this is where we get that really juicy skill orb for all of the characters, right? And that level 6 dodge that we're definitely going to be putting on basically everybody. So for this video specifically, we'll be focusing on this first category mission. We do have 3 different ones to do, so we'll just be splitting them up into separate parts here. So yeah, we're going to be focusing on the Corroded Body and Mind mission here. That will get us our gold skill orb for the GT Super Saiyan 3 Goku, right? Okay, so the team that we're going to be attempting to take it down with will be this. I do have a secondary Corroded Body and Mind team built here. So this is another potential option that we could go with if this first team ends up not working out. I'm a little bit iffy about using the Rosé, just because, you know, he's obviously there for the leader skill, but he would then be, like, pretty much the weakest unit on the team. So I want to try out this build and see if we can make this work with these couple of heroes characters that are just going to be buffing each other by them being around. But yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure how difficult this stage is going to be yet, so we'll go ahead and try it out and see. Oh, okay, that is interesting. Okay, that makes this a lot better. So I was looking at the info on the wiki for this stage. For these fights, and I was seeing, you know, that we have one fight, so it looks like all the way on the right we have the Super Saiyan 3 Goku. That's going to be, you start as the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and then phase 2 you'll be fighting against the Golden Great Ape, and then phase 3 you'll fight against the final transformed Super Saiyan 4 Goku. And then for the middle path there, it looks like first you're going to face off against the SSBE Vegeta, then you'll face off against the final form Frieza, and then on the final phase they will tag switch into the Goku. And then for that third fight, it's just a one-phase fight against the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Interesting. Okay, so I thought that it was going to be set up Super Battle Road style, but I forgot that that's how they do this with the Part 2 fights, is they actually split them, right? So you're not fighting both, you know, all the fights back-to-back, but you only fight one of them. So that actually makes this a lot less daunting. Okay, so I guess I maybe do want to try and split it up where we take down each of these individually with the teams. So because we're going to be earning the skill orb, the gold skill orb for the GT Super Saiyan 3 Goku, you know, through using the Corroded Body and Mind team, we might as well fight him with the Corroded Body and Mind team. And then we can continue to do the same, right? Because there's a Resurrected Warrior mission that we'll get the Gohan orb from, so we'll go ahead and fight, you know, pair those up, and then the Realm of Gods mission, we'll go ahead and do the Universe Survival Saga portion of the fight. We might be able to switch this up a little bit. It doesn't look like, just glancing at what these enemies are all capable of, they're all pretty much just straight up enemies that deal damage. There's no, like, insane abilities with character locking or sealing, dodge canceling, crits, nothing like that. So all these fights should be pretty interchangeable. It's not like specific teams are going to have a better or worse time in any of the given fights, right? So yeah, for now we could just try out this one, see what we are working with here. Okay, so we have a decent first rotation. Obviously, the 2 Janembas are pretty good. I do need to give myself a little bit of a refresher on some of these Heroes kits, just because they do have a lot of, like, Dragon Ball Heroes restrictions and stuff, right? So obviously, he is not going to be retaining the guard or the extra defense because we don't have another Heroes character on rotation with him. So because of that, I am going to leave him in the second slot there, just so he only has to tank, like, 1 attack, and we don't have to worry about too much coming from him this turn. And then, let's see, both of our other heroes characters are on the other rotation, so it looks like on turn 3, we're going to have the exact same issue again. So I guess we just have to be prepared for that. Okay, this should be good for now. And then, yeah, the Janemba, the modified Janemba, and the Frieza should be looking a little bit better on the other rotation there, right? I guess we'll see. It kind of is important for the Dark Mask King to have that extra buff that he gets from, you know, having another Heroes character around. So maybe I'll double check the kits of the other 2 units, because I know that, you know, it's possible they might have, like, stacking stats based on number of Heroes units on the team, or based on there just being another Heroes unit on the team. But if they don't have the exact same restrictions of needing to have, you know, heroes category character on rotation in order to have like a significant portion of their passive active, then it might be smart for us to keep Dark Mask King as a floater, and then keep the other 2 heroes units split onto opposite rotations. That way, no matter what rotation he shows up on, there is another heroes character with him, right? It'll just be a matter of if the other 2 kits look like they can be survivable without other heroes characters on the rotation, because obviously once in every 3 turns we wouldn't have that, right? But yeah, I think the modified Janemba is probably going to perform the best, just because he is going to be linking up with the other Janemba cards and stuff pretty well, I would imagine. Yeah, like check that out. 6 out of 7 links, and then probably 7 out of 7 in slot 2, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's glance at their kits really quick here, just to remind ourselves what the heroes restrictions are. Obviously, this guy's going to be building up a lot over time. Okay, so he just has additional stats. Yeah, so this is what I mean here, right? He doesn't have any restrictions with who's on the rotation with him. It's just based on the team build. So he's getting some of these stats based on the amount of crossover units we have on the team, and then that's it. And from there, we just have to depend on him to build up and stuff. It looks like he's going to be losing the guard after 5 turns, but then he gains some of this a little bit later in the fight too. Okay, not bad. So yeah, he'll be a perfectly fine unit to leave on rotation with another Janemba card. And then let's check out the Golden Cooler here. Okay, so same deal. Gets some additional stats, stat buffs, and damage reduction with crossover allies on the team. And then that's it. Yeah, so this one could also serve as a decent slot 2. Okay. For now, I think we're going to keep the rotation set like this. This makes decent sense to me. Obviously, we do want the Janemba to be our slot 1. He's got that 90% chance to dodge there in slot 1. Basically, no healing on this rotation because none of these units have built up yet, right? That is one of the biggest, like, kind of drawbacks of this version of the Corroded Body and Mind team that we built, but also just kind of what you suffer with the Corroded Body and Mind team, regardless of the build, right? Because most of the units work the same way, where they're really, really weak at the start of the fight, and then they require quite a bit of build up before they're going to be looking too good, right? So these first couple of turns, like, I'm not surprised to say that we're already at, 50% HP, because most of our units do need that time to build up their stats first, right? Oh my goodness. Yeah, as you can see there, the second hit hitting for a lot less damage than the first, just because he does build up with each of those attacks received, right? So if we are able to survive through the first couple of turns, that's going to be the name of the game. Okay, well, unfortunately, we don't there. Okay, we'll jump back in with the same team again. Obviously, because of how, vital it's going to be to get, like, our rotation set properly and stuff, we might have to get a little bit lucky with the start of the fight here. Let's see. Okay, so we can actually control this a little bit better this time. Yeah, that's going to work out well. We'll get the Janembas linked up together, and we should be safe in the first and second slots here. And then the Dark Mask King is actually going to come back around. Yeah, now we have the proper rotations where we can keep the Frieza. If we keep the Frieza on rotation, I don't know if that's going to be a good idea. Honestly, I don't even know if the Frieza is good enough. That's kind of really the problem. We'll do 1 or 2 more tries experimenting with them and see if it's possible. But yeah, it is also very possible that the Frieza is just not going to end up working out for us, right? Okay, and then we can get the 6 orbs for Majin Vegeta there. That's good. Well, we're able to activate his full passive too, so he should be safe this turn as well. Okay, perfect. That is where we wanted to see the super attack. Obviously, we're going to take a little bit of damage from it. But we are safe. We should live the turn at least. So that's not too terrible. Okay, so, yeah, I guess name of the game here is just going to be hoping that we can do as many additional attacks as possible in this second slot. Just so we can start to raise those stats as much as possible. And then, we know there's really no avoiding it. These first couple of attacks are going to hurt. Okay, yeah, that's pretty bad. Man, I don't know if, I don't know if Majin Vegeta is even going to be able to hold his own here. We'll see. He obviously, if we do get the opportunity to transform him into Majin Vegeta, he's going to be really, really helpful. But in base, he is not the most amazing unit, right? Okay, nice that we're at least double-digit tanking there. Oh, well, we're done for now. The Frieza just got sealed. Or the cooler just got sealed. So obviously with his completely pathetic defense, yeah, that's not gonna work. Because he is depending on getting these defense raises. Yeah, it looks like the cooler just might not be good enough for this team. We might just have to take him off. But then the problem becomes, if we're not stacked with a lot of these units, right, we're not going to have consistent rotations where this guy has the extra defense, and we already saw how hard he falls with that, and then there's stats for this guy that are just going to fall off with all these crossover allies, taken off of the team. Yeah, we'll have to see, but this is a definite L. There's literally no way we can survive this. It'd be impossible. Yeah. Unless, I guess unless the Frieza dodges, or the cooler dodges, that'd be the only way. Alright, well then, yeah, let's just click through. Take our L real quick, and then, I guess we'll reevaluate. It doesn't really seem like this team is gonna be able to do this. The other thing is we do have the opportunity to maybe move to a different fight. We could possibly transfer to one of these other stages. Yeah, I think we just might have to reevaluate the usage of these heroes units. Maybe is not going to be the best idea, honestly. I think, if any of them, the modified Janemba might be, because even without all those other buffs and stats from the, from the extra crossover units on the team, he still is building up stats, so he might look pretty weak on turn 1, but after he does take those couple of hits and stuff, he might be a little bit better. I mean, yeah, I think he still seems like a suitable pick, but yeah, the other two, I'm not 100% sure about. So we also, like I mentioned, did have this team build as an idea. Looking at it now, I probably would do this. Let's get our part of body and mind filter up. I would probably do that. I think it would make more sense. This is actually probably going to be a very tough mission, which I could have expected to begin with. Okay, yeah, let's give this a go and see how we do here. What would be the difference in the team builds here? Oh, well, I guess, yeah, like all those heroes units, right? Yeah, let's go ahead and try this out. Maybe we'll have a little more luck with this team build. And I do still like the idea of keeping the friend Janemba rather than doing like a friend Rose. Again, that would help our leader skill just a little bit, but I think overall getting the additional power from the Janemba unit is going to be the smartest idea. So let's go ahead and do this. And because we do need to have some build-up that happens over time, I'm thinking it's going to be the smartest to take on one of these multi-phase fights. So definitely either the Super Saiyan 3 Goku or the Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta fight are going to be the better ideas. I think that this team has zero chance of taking down the Gohan fight, right? Because it is just a one-phase fight. He's got 350 million HP and a 2.1 million super attack that gets stronger and stronger every time he receives an attack. So, up to 500%. Wow. Yeah, so that's going to be a very hard-hitting fight. Probably not the way to go with this team. Just because it's going to be really, really detrimental out the gates, right? Yeah, that should be an interesting fight. But who knows? If we start failing too many times in these other stages, maybe we'll give it a go and see how the team does, right? Oh, and then I guess it's worth double checking. Oh, okay. So it looks like for the Goku Frieza fight, the Frieza can be stunned and the Goku can be sealed. But other than that, there's no stunning or sealing throughout the entireties of any of these fights. So yeah, I was just kind of curious if that would be another potential option that we could go for, as, you know, Heroes characters are notorious for having a lot of status effects, so if we were to build a more Heroes-heavy build, then taking advantage of stuns and seals could potentially be a cheeky way to get us through this fight, right? But it doesn't look like that's going to be too possible. Maybe on that Universe Survival Saga fight, maybe. Okay, so there we go. We solidly survived the first turn. That is good. As nice as it would be to keep the Goku Blacks together because of how well they link, I think it's probably going to make the most sense to just keep Janemba as our slot 1s. That's probably going to be the best way to go, because obviously neither of these units can just tank outright right up front or anything. So yeah, I guess we'll do this. We'll just keep Janemba there. And then that's some orbs. I kind of would have liked that for that to be a little bit more. Let's see. Do we want to keep Rose on, or should we keep Goku Black here? I'm actually really not sure what the right answer is, because this guy's going to be orb changing for us. And then obviously he's nuking, like massively nuking. 60% per orb is really big. He does gain a little bit of stats with each of the attacks that he receives over time. Okay. Yeah, so he's pretty straight up. Other than this stacking right here, he's not really doing much different throughout the fight. But then obviously we know this guy's going to have a domain he's going to be able to activate. So he's only guarding for the first turn. He's getting some additional damage reduction. Oh, I see. He gets the damage reduction before attacking as well, which would make him somewhat decent for a slot 1. Great chance to nullify Ki Blast, which we're not dealing with in this fight. Okay. For every attack performed, he gets more stats within the turn. Oh, interesting. Okay. And then he's just getting additionals on additionals on additionals. And his super attack effect is providing 1 turn raises. And then how do we proc that domain? Okay, so it looks like it's probably going to be turn 6 that we'll be able to get that off. Unless we got an all super bosses rotation, we might get a little bit lucky with that. Then maybe on turn 4. Okay. And then the domain. Oh, how do we even activate the domain? I didn't even see. Okay, so it's yeah, the same deal with his active that does the cloning. Okay, interesting. All right, and then that's just gonna help us a little bit more when we get there. All right, I think. I'm really not sure what the right answer is, to be honest with you. I guess we'll just leave Rose on. Sure. Let's just do it this way. And then, man, I really wish there was a way I could, like... Okay, I guess that works. Being able to get 8 orbs is not the worst. Because obviously the main thing that I did want there was the healing. Obviously, with any units that have those nuking passives, every orb that they select is an individual process that raises their defense, you know, per orb obtained. So then by the time the last orb is technically selected, he's got a much higher defense number, and then he's able to, you know, buff your HP back up a lot more. Alright, so yeah, mainly I'm just curious to see how these two units do defensively. Especially before they've been able to build up super much. Obviously we know that this guy hits like an absolute fish. Okay, well, he's at least defending, which is nice. The fact that he can double-digit tank the normal attacks makes me feel pretty comfortable having him on rotation. Alright, and it looks like they're both capable of doing that. And again, this is before being able to achieve any type of massive... you know, stat buffing or anything. Okay, so now for Int Janemba, this is really the main question here. Do we keep Int Janemba on rotation, or do we keep the physical Janemba on rotation? Because we do have 3 units on the team that have that exact same name with the Super Janemba that are not going to link together. He does have permanent guard and high chance to evade, which is nice, and then he gets the extra 20% chance to evade before attacking, which puts him at 70, and then he's got the 90% as the, you know, attacker in the first or third slot. So I guess we could run him as a slot 3 as well, because he functions that way. Maybe that would be smart to do. And then keep this guy slot 1 for us. I feel like this is probably the smartest way to go. And just keep the physical Janembas split between the rotations. Maybe so, maybe so. Yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and just run it like this. There's no... I feel like it's probably not going to make too much of a difference. It would just be minor differences in, like, the enemy typings and things like that, right? But the other thing is that I think if the Int Janemba were to actually end up taking some attacks, then he would obviously suffer from that a little bit. Whereas if the physical Janemba takes some attacks, I think he could actually survive. So yeah, for instance, like we just tanked that super for nothing, right? And obviously the Int Janemba probably would have dodged it with the 90% dodge, but had he gotten hit by that, we 100% would have just been KO'd. So yeah, I think it's probably smarter to prioritize the physical Janembas and continue to rotate off the Int one, especially because he still gets that extra dodge chance in slot 3, right? So we really just don't want to have him in slot 2 because he'll only have the 50% dodge. Alright, and then it looks like the modified Janemba was able to, you know, max out his passive as well from all the hits received. So his defense is looking good enough as well. That is definitely a good sign. Okay, so we're getting the transformation with the Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta into Majin Vegeta, which is very, very good. That is yet another kit that I need to take a look at, but I imagine this is the way that we're going to run our rotation still. Probably, most likely. Yeah, because we would lose Big Bad Bosses otherwise, which is just not something that we want to do. So we're definitely going to keep the rotations like this, but let me just give myself a quick refresher here. Okay... So he's going to be attack positive with a lot of HP remaining, and then defense positive with less HP, guarding under 50%. We want to get a Rainbow Key Sphere with him to get the extra 30% damage reduction, giving him 66% overall. And then with the 6 Key Spheres, he gets guaranteed guard and some more stats. Okay. Cool. Unfortunately, we don't have anything on the team to proc his Rainbow Key Sphere changing, so we just have to get lucky with being able to select that. I would say, though, that getting the singular Rainbow Key Sphere is more important than getting the 6 orbs altogether. So we'll just keep that in mind as the rotation goes on. Yeah, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get 6 orbs, almost with those physical orbs right here. Almost, but not quite. And then again, almost there, 5. But yeah, we're at least able to get same type orb selection, which is good for the healing, good for the Dokkan gauge. And then we did get that rainbow orb for him as well, so. Alright, everybody should be pretty solidly protected here on this turn. Okay, so already I'm feeling like this team is going to be functioning a lot better than that previous team we had built. Obviously, you know, there was a bit of detriment with the funkiness from those heroes characters. I guess I overestimated them a little bit. You know, obviously they do look a little bit better in their prime settings where you have a full heroes build and they're able to have their entire passive skills activated. But yeah, I guess just like the Frieza especially, or I keep saying Frieza, the cooler, the golden cooler especially was just a little bit undertuned. With only some of that damage reduction being provided, right, from having the crossover category allies. So yeah, maybe he would have looked a little bit more viable if we had an entire team of crossover characters, but obviously that would mean we'd have to take off all these Janembas and, like, basically the best units on the team, right? So, not really an option. Another unit I suppose we could have played around with is, like, the physical Super Saiyan 3 Rose. So ultimately, if this team ends up not being it, and we do have to try and reevaluate again, then maybe we can consider doing something closer to a full heroes build. Maybe try and even have the Super Saiyan 3 Rose as our leader to give us some additional stats for those hero characters, and then, you know, we'll see what we could do from there. Maybe it would be possible. But for now, we're kind of sitting pretty here. Everybody's looking decent, performing well. Okay. So yeah, modified Janemba. His passive should be fully active at this point. All of the, he's taken the multiple hits that he needed to get the extra defense, so that's where he's gonna be at. The guard is gonna fall off, which is gonna hurt him for sure. In the second phase, he's going to be type neutral against the STR Golden Great Ape, but then in the final phase, he'll have type advantage again, so that will at least help him. Even so, I don't know if that's going to be, like, enough for him. Yeah, so basically where we see him at now is where he's going to be, right? So 400k defense, he's not getting any higher than that, other than within the turn for these, mid-turn raises. So yeah, for now, I'll keep him on rotation still. Just to, for those 3 turn raises to keep stacking on top of each other, I think is going to be a good idea. I guess we'll grab these orbs. And again, those physical orbs split a little bit weird. Alright, we just want to grab as many as possible, though. There we go, back to 100% HP, so that's really good. Gonna be a good way to start out the next phase with as much HP as we can get. Oh, nice. And we dodged the super, so we don't have to worry about taking any of that damage either. Very good, very good. Alright, and now our physical Janembas are starting to look decent on the attack front as well, having been built up a little bit. So that is good. And again, we want to see as many additionals as possible for those super attack effects stat raises. I'm not too surprised that we're not getting additionals because I do have him built defensively, I'm pretty sure. Oh, wow. He even survived that rotation. Interesting. Okay, so we have access to the domain now in the transformation. But the problem is it's only going to activate for 4 turns, right? Like the domain... Let's see. When you do the active skill... Yeah, he clones for 4 turns. Okay, so I think I'm gonna wait then, and we'll do this a little bit later. Yeah, I think that's probably gonna be the smartest way to go. And then obviously we do have the Janemba Rage mode as well, but same deal. We'll probably just wait for a little bit later in the fight to activate these things. Yeah. Alright, and then this should finish off the phase nice and easy for us. Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to the Super Saiyan 3 Golden Great Ape. We are going to be suffering a little bit of type disadvantage here. We have a lot of physical units on the team, so that is obviously the scariest part of what we're dealing with. Let's see here. So he does have a pretty hard-hitting super attack. He's got a cooldown of 10, a max super attack of 1 per turn. Let's see. His attack numbers are pretty comparable to the phase we just took on. His HP is double, because we just faced off against a 100 million HP stage. This is a 200 million HP stage. They both had 62% damage reduction. Okay. So yeah, we're probably going to be in this fight for a little while, is what I'm thinking. Alright, well, it seems very possible that we do get destroyed by, like, modified Janemba taking a super attack. That would be the worst thing. Okay, so what I want to try to do here is see if we can't get the 6 orbs for Majin Vegeta. The 6 orbs plus the rainbow orb, right? So I guess we'll go with this orb to start. It's just, like, not quite gonna happen, huh? Because if we grab this orb, we'll be able to get 5 plus the rainbow. And then if we grab this, that's gonna be 4 plus the rainbow. Or 5. Just 5 in general. Man. That actually does suck. Okay, well, I guess just thinking about moving forward toward next turn, let's go for this. Again, it really would be nice to get the the 6 orbs with Majin Vegeta, because, you know, we're going to need to be able to do all the damage that we possibly can. This isn't a very hard-hitting team overall, so especially against this phase where we've got all the type disadvantage threats, definitely Majin Vegeta would be one of the best characters to be able to depend on, right? So that's a little bit of a bummer. I guess one nice thing about this stage is that I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Ki Blast Super that launches against us. Oh, no, that's not, yeah, okay. Alright, if that's all he's going to be capable of putting out, then I'm just going to have to go ahead and straight up say that he's not good enough. Like, that's him at max capability, and he can't even close to tank that, and the attack power is only going to go up even more on the next phase. I don't think we can survive with him on the team, unfortunately. Just considering there's no hiding him. You know, every single phase of this fight, he's going to have to take attacks because of how many turns it takes to get through them. So we're definitely going to have to put somebody else on the team. The question is who, right? Because this team is so bad. Like, we could try him as like a slot 3 floater. If we did that, he has what, a high chance to evade, and then the additional 12% per. But the problem is, if he gets hit by a singular attack at once, at all, then we're just going to be KO'd. So that's a very, very RNG heavy thing to be relying on. We could go with the Cooler, because he has the Revive available. So he'll build up stats over time, and then eventually could proc the Revive for us, which could be nice. We could also go with the Tech Janemba here. This unit obviously is going to be providing some damage reduction for himself. It's just such an undertuned passive. I'm not sure if he's defensively going to be able to keep up. I think this is my best option for now. I kind of want to try this out, just because he will link up with the other Janemba cards and stuff pretty well. So let's go ahead and try this for now. I do also... we can still get the no item mission done with... you know, with a support memory active. I was thinking of this one, but I hate that it only activates for 3 turns. I really do like the ones that are more consistently active. I don't know if we have a good support memory that's going to be able to provide this one, actually. Yeah, this movie, but we have a lot of movie bosses here. Okay, let's go ahead and maybe try that one. We also have, like, Worldwide Chaos could be an option of another potential one. Let's go ahead and try this. Movie bosses. Yeah, that's going to be basically every Janemba card, right? Okay. Yeah, we'll try the next run like this. Okay. And oh man. So obviously, it makes the most sense to keep the Janembas together, as always. Oh, this actually works out decent, yeah. Because we've got all of these orbs right here that we're going to be able to select. Unfortunately, that's the one big thing about Fat Janemba, is that he's really, really orb hungry, which is kind of the same deal as this Majin Vegeta, right? They're both very orb hungry units. But keeping them as slot 3 floaters once we get to that point in the fight is going to be nice. Just obviously on this first turn, it makes a little more sense to rotate off the Vegeta here. Okay, so out the gates, we're doing pretty good. This is the one big benefit of keeping the Int Janemba in slot 1, is that as he dodges all those attacks up front, he's going to be getting massive buffs to the amount of damage he does for the rotation, you know, which is just going to do really good things for us as far as being able to get through these phases a little bit quicker. So maybe with that considered, it would be smart for me to actually keep him up front, because he is doing more offensively, especially on this first phase where he's got type advantage. He is definitely doing more offensively than the physical Janembas would be, right? So yeah, maybe that could be something to consider, keeping him around. And then he wouldn't have type disadvantage against that second stage as well, which again is going to help the amount of damage output that we're doing. I think that's I mean, really the only problem with the team last time was just the modified Janemba wasn't good enough, and we just didn't have that answer yet. Okay. So, let's... Obviously, we're going to keep... split the Janembas here. Keep one of them on rotation. And then that's actually really good for Goku Black there. That's a lot of orb selection. He's going to have a pretty impressive turn. Yeah, with no stat buildup or anything yet. Getting up to that high of numbers looks pretty good. Okay, yeah, this should be a pretty promising turn. Defensively, I mean. Obviously, offensively, it's not going to be too insane, as Goku Black hasn't built up. None of these units have been able to build up yet, right? Okay, yeah. No one even peaking over 10 million. Which I guess is to be expected, right? Okay, so one of the things that I maybe could have fast-tracked if I put the physical Goku Black in slot 1 is that he would have taken all the hits that he needed in order to get fully built up. So that was a potential idea, but I guess I did pass up on that opportunity. So he only took one of the hits that he needed, which means even on his next turn, he's still not going to be that built up. And because of how quickly we're going through this first phase on this time around, it's looking like his next turn is going to be against the Super Saiyan 3 Golden Great Ape, where he has type disadvantage. So that is going to probably hurt him just a little bit. Nice. We get another cheeky dodge in there from Janemba. Loving our fully defensively built Janemba there. Okay, so... I guess we'll still have Big Bad... Yeah, they still do have quite a few links active between the two of them. And they get a little bit of extra ki and stuff. Okay, I think this is the point where we're going to pull the trigger and go ahead and switch the build around. Just because, again, the Fat Janemba is so ki hungry. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, he's going to be defensively weaker already out the gates than, like, a lot of these other units. But then especially if we have a really bad rotation RNG wise with the orb selection and he's unable to get like the rainbow orbs that he needs to select and stuff, that could end up looking really bad for us, right? So we do get lucky with it again here. We're able to get, let me remind myself what the exact things is. I'm pretty sure it's like 4 type key spheres and then 2 rainbows. Yeah, so 4 type key spheres. He gives the defense to himself, which is really important. Like, obviously, it's good to have the support for the allies, but mainly giving himself that extra defense is really, really vital. And then, even more important than that is the 2 rainbow key spheres for him to be able to get the 30% damage reduction, right? Okay, yeah, so we are able to get it here. And there we go, we've got his full passive active. But yeah, rotating him off is just going to be helpful for that, because then there'll be less rotations overall throughout the fight, where we have to depend on, you know, the proper orb selection to keep him safe. Okay, and Int Janemba finishes things off, so unfortunately we are looking at the exact same scenario for the physical Goku Black as the physical Rose. Neither of them have really had an opportunity to build up by taking the hits they need to take or dealing the attacks they need to deal in order to raise their stats, and now they're both facing off with type disadvantage on this second phase here. So that is going to be a little bit detrimental for them. I think because of that, I'm probably going to run the rotation like this. Let's see. We have, like, no links active, though. That's the only hard part. Maybe I could put him slot 2. Maybe. Let me quickly glance at his passive again and just make sure. I mean, he does get a lot of stats per orb, but it's all stats. There's no damage reduction. There's no guard. There's no dodge chance. It's just all stats. That's what scares me about that a little bit, about keeping him there. Whereas at least we know if we put Majin Vegeta there, we can be dealing with 66% damage reduction. That's, like, massive, right? Okay, so here we have 6 orbs and their rainbows. So we will ignore that side of the board to make sure that we don't affect it in any way, so that Majin Vegeta can guaranteed get that. There's no way. Because he's a tech character, it wants to prioritize selecting the tech orbs. No, that is annoying. Okay, well, I guess we could have selected this half of the board in preparation for that. That's a little bit annoying. Okay, so at this point, because he can't get the 6 orbs, we're going to try to just set up the board with 2 selections in mind. One, we need to get him a rainbow key sphere, so he gets the extra you know, so he gets the extra damage reduction, and then also a selection that's going to make a big orb selection for Goku Black to be able to do harder hitting attacks. So I think this is probably the right idea. We get the rainbow orb, get a little bit of healing from the same type, and then we can grab all these red orbs. Yeah. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so obviously the only way this turn could have gone any better is if we didn't have that little blunder with the Majin Vegeta orbs there. He really, taking advantage of that extra attack power that he's going to get with the 6 orbs selected will be huge for us, right? Just getting through these phases a little bit quicker, because he is one of the hardest hitters on the team regardless. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to make that happen sooner rather than later. But again, as we've already been able to see, it's not going to be the most consistent ability, unfortunately. Alright, well, we are double-digit tanky normals. That is, like, again, the main, like, lower threshold for any of these characters, so we can sit pretty as long as that's happening. Okay, so, here's where we reach the first interesting opportunity, right, where we could potentially swap our rotations around. Just keeping in mind... Let's see. Okay, so he gets the extra stats that build up on him, and then they stay. So he doesn't really need to be in slot 1 at this point, because he has the same exact passive in the 3rd slot as first. It's mainly just for getting all of these stat buildups, which he's already gotten, right? Okay, so, I mean, I guess this part functions a little bit better, launching the extra additional attack after evading. But because it lasts for 4 turns, it's still an ability that we're going to see proc. It's just you won't see it. There's basically one less attack you'll see from it, right? Because we'll get it on the following turn, but just not the same turn that it activates, because it'll be post-super for him. Okay, so yeah, I think this is going to be fine. Let's just go ahead and pull the trigger on swapping the Injanemba to be an off-rotation unit at this point. And then we're going to try and avoid any of those rainbow orbs or anything in the middle. For the next rotation. Man, I'm actually just now realizing, like, how... Oh, are we good here? Oh, yeah, we're perfectly fine. Okay. Yeah, I'm realizing how, like, key-hungry this team is. There are quite a few units that are depending on selecting a lot of orbs, and then rainbow orbs specifically, even, right? Because the Fat Janemba is going to need the 4 type key spheres and 2 rainbow key spheres. You have the Majin Vegeta that needs the 1 rainbow key sphere and really wants 6 key spheres overall. And then you have the physical Goku Black that's going to want to eat as many key spheres as possible, right? Just for that nuking passive. So, yeah, quite an interesting and risky team build, because obviously if none of these units are able to feed off the orbs the way that they should, then... Oh no! Did we lose our guard there or something? Oh man, it's so many of these units are so underused in my account. I just have trouble keeping track of, like, what they even do. Oh yeah, because he only guards for the first turn. And then beyond that, it's just depending on defensive stats. And he's only getting these extra additionals with lots of attacks done. Yeah. Oh man, this is just, like, not a great unit, is it, really? Okay, so he definitely can't be on rotation then with that second phase. He's just not strong enough. So we're going to have to hide him for sure. Okay, so we'll keep that in mind going into the next runs here. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump back in with the same team again. I think we just need to... We maybe could have played that turn a little bit better. I don't think that was... maybe optimal from us, because the thing is that Goku Black is going to need a lot of rainbow orbs. I guess, you know, the idea is to get him as many of those rainbow orbs as you can to then give him the guaranteed additional attacks that he's going to be able to get. So maybe had we set it up a little better where we prioritize getting some rainbow key spheres with him, then maybe we would have survived that turn on defense alone. But it's kind of looking right now it's kind of looking like our best possible strat for the way we should keep these team builds going is to have like 2 of the Janembas on rotation together, right? Like have Int Janemba slot 1 and then have Tech Janemba slot 2 and just force the Int Janemba to fully rely on dodging and not really have links. Obviously that's going to hurt our attack output by quite a bit, but you know, so many of these units are just like not strong enough. Really, the 3 Janembas are the only units we can just kind of like leave alone, let them do what they're going to do, and they'll be really good regardless, right? So yeah, we might end up having a rotation of just Super Janemba, and then on the opposite side, we would have Super Janemba and someone else. That's where the question mark still is lying. Maybe like the Majin Vegeta might prove to be the most useful unit. We'll see. Still kind of gauging these units' power a little bit. And then another thing that I was kind of thinking about is because we have so much physical power on this team, it really might be smart for us to switch to the Universe Survival Saga fight. Because, you know, the first phase is STR, which will hurt. But the harder 2 phases that come, you know, subsequently after that are both int. So all of our physical units would have a massive advantage there, right? Okay, so because this is Rose's first turn around, he's got access to... Let's see, are we going to have a full Super Bosses build when he comes back? Oh, no. The only Super Bosses characters that are even on the team are the Goku Black and the Rose, right? So, we have to wait till turn 6 to get his domain up and get him cloned and everything anyway. So leaving him on rotation is going to be smart, because then he won't be on, like, turn 5, turn 7, or 8. It'll be directly on turn 6. So yeah, we'll keep the rotation like that. And then I guess... Yeah, so, like, again, it sucks really bad. You're trying to get as many Rainbow Key Spheres with him as possible. And look at this. We only have 1 that we can get at the most. So yeah, that really does hurt him, huh? Okay, so we'll grab these, and then we could just get all of these. I do want to avoid grabbing... Well, let me see. Let me look at his passive and base. He still does need... I guess he only needs 3 Key Spheres to get the extra stats. Okay. Not terrible, not terrible. But yeah, the only way we can get 3 is if we get all these, so let's go ahead and do that. Because again, do want to prioritize doing as much damage as possible so that we can get through the fight as quickly as we can. That is going to be a huge thing. But yeah, you know, we might give it one or two more tries in this fight, since we've already gotten used to how the flow of this fight works. But then worst case scenario, like I said, we can always try and switch to fighting the Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta instead. That might be a good fight for us, because there also is some the ability for us to apply some status effects to that boss as well. Like I was talking about with the stunning and sealing, so maybe we'll go ahead and switch over. We'll see. But I think I have everybody's kit kind of locked and loaded in my brain, and I understand the best way to operate all of these units at this point. So if we're still unable to make it happen, like pretty much all of our losses so far have been user error, right? They've just been me not, you know, organizing my rotations properly, not selecting key spheres properly, things like that. So from this point forward, anything that's going to get us KO'd is just going to be RNG, right? But I intend to play flawlessly from this point on, so we'll see if this is the point where we really start testing things, right? 45 minutes into the video. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of the point of what I was talking about here. We could potentially just leave the rotation like this, and I think I'm going to, actually. Yeah, I think this makes the most sense to me. So let's go ahead and just leave Int Janemba there up front. Well, here's the thing. We still have a couple more turns of... So, let's see. If we do actually rotate off Janemba here, then it would be turn 7 before he comes back. No. turn... Oh, well then, if we would also have to rotate the Janemba on the next rotation for it to be... Yeah, so it's going to be quite a few turns before he comes back. I don't think I like that idea. I think I do just want to keep them like this. Obviously, it's tempting with all those physical orbs around to be able to grab with the Goku Black and then do more damage with the Int Janemba up front too. But I think just thinking about the future rotations... I mean, this physical Goku Black hasn't gotten us killed yet, so maybe he could be good to keep around, and we'll see how he performs in that second phase. I guess that's an option. Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's go ahead and do that then. And then obviously that's going to help a lot, because we do get Big Bad Bosses as well as a couple of other links activated here. And then I want to leave the board pretty fully selectable for the next rotation, so we'll just get the one physical orb there. That way we can boost that Dokkan gauge a little bit. Because I think that is going to be one of the bigger helps, right? Being able to launch that Dokkan attack during the final phase of the fight. That is going to be quite huge for us. Okay, well there we go. Int Janemba doing his job. Dodging everything under the sun. I guess it was good to know that he could still double-digit tank the normal there. Pre-super attack. That is kind of good info to have, right? Alright, and a gnarly 14 million attack stat coming out there, and that's again with no build-up from the passive. So yeah, quite good, quite good. Alright, looks like he'll survive one more turn, which is a good thing, because we do want to kind of go through the fight as slowly as possible, I guess. Just to make sure that everybody gets built up before things get too treacherous, and obviously for us, the second phase is like the most detrimental. Okay, so here's the point where things get a little bit dicey, right? The Rosé does not have his guard up anymore for that first turn. Again, as we just talked about, we do want to keep him on rotation. Just that way on turn 6 right away, we'll go ahead and implement the strategy of not holding out, and you know, we'll go ahead and activate his domain as quickly as we possibly can. So it looks like that's just going to be right there at the start of turn 6. Okay, and then for the Fat Janemba, we're not even able to get a super attack off. We don't get the support either, but we did get the extra damage reduction, which is all he'd really need, and it's not going to matter anyway, because he shouldn't be able to take any attacks. I imagine we're just going to KO this first phase right here, so... Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we're getting our transformation into Majin Vegeta. So we're looking decent so far. Let's see. Okay. So we want to keep Int Janemba up front, and then I guess the name of the game at this point is who do we keep around, right? Obviously, I would like to keep the Majin Vegeta on. I think defensively, it makes more sense to keep him on rotation than like the Goku Black. But the only problem is that we lose Big Bad Bosses, and that is such a huge thing that's going to help these units' defense, right? So I don't know that I like that idea. I kind of do want to keep my rotation like this. Yeah, and this is a little bit of a waste, selecting all these orbs here, but because there's so few colors of orbs on the field anyway, I think it makes sense to do that. Just that way we can get all of these physical orbs here with Goku Black. Yeah, that's going to be huge for him. Okay, and then we did also get lucky enough. Let's check his defense. 800k defense, yeah. And then he's still got some more building up to do. So yeah, he's probably going to be a quite reliable unit to keep on rotation. Again, it just depends on the orb selection. And then there we go, we were finally able to get the 6 orbs with Majin Vegeta, and we got the Rainbow Orb in there, so he has his full passive active for the very first time. We'll be able to see how he performs on this rotation as well. But yeah, nice. The way we've got the team set up right now, we are looking quite solid as far as our damage output, right? Okay, up to 16 million there. Not bad, not bad. Obviously, if we're not critting, we're not going to be doing, like, any damage with these physical units. Okay. Alright, that adds a little bit more to his passive. I think he still has to take like 1 or 2 more attacks in order to be fully built up at this point. But every hit that he takes does help. It's just nice that he hasn't had to suffer taking a super attack or anything prior to being built up, right? That would obviously be the worst case scenario. Okay, so we have access to all kinds of active skills now. Obviously, I think it's probably going to be wise for us to wait on the Janemba rage modes for the final phase of the fight. But we do want to get the domain activated as quickly as we can, because we know Rose is kind of a fish right now at this point. He's only depending on defense, which is just like not good. So yeah, let's go ahead and get that domain activated, get his clone status up and running, get that rift in the sky. There we go. Okay, and then let me give myself a quick refresher here on his transformed kit. Okay, so super attack effect, he's just raising stats. Okay, his attack's effective, gets a guaranteed additional 66% damage reduction before attacking. Okay. For every rainbow key spheres, he launches an additional attack with a rare chance to super, and then the same deal with the extra supers here, and then just a bit more stat buffs for every attack performed within the turn. So he's basically the same exact unit as he was before the cloning. It's just now he has a little bit more buffs in slot 1, and that's kind of it, right? And then some extra like little stat buffs here and there. Okay, but he is still pretty much fully depending on defense, which hurts him, right? Other than this, if he's in slot 1, he gets that 66%, which is tempting, honestly. But his defense is just so low that, like, I don't know what's going to be more worth it, right? For him to have the additional, like, if we were to put him here, so that he has the 66% defense, or damage reduction, or if we were to put him here, so that he gets all of the extra benefits from all the additional attacks that he does, right? I'm not sure what's going to service him better. I guess there's no time like the present to, like, find out. So let's just go ahead and put him here and see if this is going to be enough, I guess. And then we want to get all of these rainbow orbs so that he can do as many additional attacks as possible, right? He is just going to be doing an onslaught of attacks. And then for the Janembas, we don't really care how many orbs they select, so I think it's going to be smart to try and set up the board for the next rotation. So we'll try to avoid selecting rainbow key spheres, and then maybe try and leave some physical orbs down. Okay, yeah, that should probably be fine. There we go. Oh, and they are taking a super attack right away. Okay, let's see. The perfect test. So he can't take a super attack in slot 1, which means definitely we shouldn't put him there. Obviously, I'm pretty sure the normals would have been fine because of all the extra damage reduction. But yeah, so that he just does not work as a slot 1 at all. Man, okay. One more try with it, and I guess we'll just not make that mistake of putting him in slot 1. Obviously, we would have been fine there had we just put him slot 2. Ugh, that is quite annoying. Okay, let's see here. Alright, I guess we'll put Goku Black there. And then we can grab all these for the Vegeta. And Janemba can get his full passive active there too. Cool. And we've got the triple Janemba turn coming up next. You love to see that. Okay, obviously that was a quite a hefty bit of damage we just took there because of not being built up and being pre-super or anything. Are we even going to survive this? No. Okay, yeah. Alright, let's give this another go here. Inch Janemba up front. So, I'm thinking just because of the way that Rose has been performing, let's rotate him off. Let's get him out of here. Let's just keep him as a slot 3. Let's kind of go off the basis of, like, it doesn't really matter what the rotations are. It doesn't matter, you know, what the setup is or the situation of the fight. I just kind of want to permanently keep him as a slot 3 and see if that ends up working out a little better for us. Just kind of overall. And we dodge, yes. There we go. So I'm thinking, like, I really would love to no item this. The only problem, I'm still... Okay, so a couple things. First, I'm still pretty determined to try with this Super Saiyan 3 Goku fight. Only because we haven't gotten through that second phase yet. And we have been putting in quite a few misplays, right? So if we do get into a situation where we're able to survive that second phase... Oh my goodness, Majin Vegeta, dude. Are we just dead here? Rose's guarding for turn 1, so we should be okay then, right? But yeah, I want to get through that second phase at least, without any blunders or anything, just to see like how bad that last phase is actually going to be. Before we like give up and move on to a different fight, right? But and you know, and on top of that, just another random thought is that I would really like to no item this if possible. Just so that we can get the other equips that we would earn from no iteming it. But we only have to no item it once, and I guess if we don't no item it with the Corroded Body and Mind team, then we can always save that for one of the other builds. So that is another possibility. Alright, so we got a very lucky key sphere field selection. Got lots of healing in there, because we were almost completely destroyed by Majin Vegeta on that first turn, right? That was a little bit detrimental for us. Okay, so as nice as it is to move slowly through the fight and not really be dishing out too many heavy damaging attacks, allowing our units to build up, the only thing that sucks about it is really that physical Rose. I kind of would like to be as far into the fight as possible by the time we end up activating his domain. That way, by the time his domain is over, and he is no longer in his clone state and goes back to being a complete fish, the fight would be over. Because at that point, he would just be a huge liability for us, right? And it would be nearly impossible to survive a rotation if he's going to have to take attacks at all. That is, like, the main thing. So, keeping that in mind, we kind of do have to move a little bit quickly through this. But yeah, we did get a little bit hurt damage-wise on that first turn because we had to rotate Rose off, which meant that Janemba didn't have Big Bad Bosses active being next to the Vegeta. So we might be able to fix that here, but we're going to have to keep the Fat Janemba on rotation in order for that to happen. Which I suppose isn't the worst thing. Let's see. Yeah, this should be fine. So we'll just grab these orbs. We don't really need that many with Janemba there. And then here we can get a full passive active for the Fat Janemba. And, oh man, Vegeta is really not getting much here at all. He doesn't even get the 3 orbs for the extra stats. That's really bad. We're gonna need to pray that there's not a super in that last slot, because he is about to get hit quite hard. I guess the other opportunity would be, yeah, if Int Janemba here is just gonna flat out finish the fight. That would be the most ideal situation, right? I don't know if that was quite enough damage. We'll see, we'll see. Obviously, the one more additional would have done it, but these 2 next units are not going to hit very hard here, so... Oh, man. Yeah, it looks like Vegeta is actually going to have to suffer taking these attacks, so hopefully he can take these normals well enough to at least get us through to the next phase, maybe. The double super helps. That'll help raise his defense by a little bit here. I'm a bit nervous, though. We'll see. And obviously, oh yeah, nice, a triple super turn. There we go. But yeah, obviously if he ends up tanking a super attack here, that's not gonna be good. Okay, yeah, he was fine. With the even through 3 super attacks, he still was not double-digit tanking. So yeah, he was definitely in trouble there. The triple super helped a lot. Okay, and then this actually works out perfect. It's a turn where Rose is not gonna have to worry about anything. So we'll grab all of these with Janemba so we can get all of these physical orbs with Goku Black. Get a really solid bit of healing in there. Nice, all the way back to 100%. And then we'll select these physical orbs as well. just giving us a little bit more buff on that Dokkan gauge. All right. Maybe it would have been smart for me to put Goku Black in the first slot right there. Just so that he could take a couple of extra attacks, but obviously, barring there being a super in slot 1, it would have been dumb and silly for us to have to take all that extra damage going into the next phase, so that was the safe way to do it, but seeing that there was only normal attacks there, we could have benefited from that, right? Okay, so now with having the multiple Janembas on, again, we face the reality of... I mean, okay, so ideally, like, we could consider having the double Janemba rotation like this, but that's not going to be the right answer for this turn specifically, just because of that wall of attacks at the end there, right? We definitely don't want to run the rotation like this, so now we have to ask ourselves which Janemba we should put in slot 1, and which one we should rotate off. We do have one of our Janembas on the other rotation. I think it would be wise, and I think we're going to run the rotation like this. I think this is going to be the smartest way to do it. But I'm also sitting here trying to make sure that I can get the 2 rainbow orbs for Janemba in the middle, but then also the 4 type key spheres. It's looking like that's going to be pretty tricky to make happen. Maybe this will do it if that int orb falls. Not quite. Okay, so we are able to get the 2 rainbows, which is the more important thing. Unfortunately, we don't get the passive buff of like the 30% stats, though. That just hurts a little bit. Okay, and then I guess we'll grab these 2 blues. Yeah, the key field is not amazing. We'll see what kind of orb changing the physical Goku Black gives to us on this next rotation. That could certainly help out. There really is just so much RNG that goes into it with this team. And it has been working out really well thus far. Because, again, every single death that we had so far, basically, except for like some of those turn 1 blunders or whatever, where we just had bad rotations, like, the RNG hasn't really been hurting us that much. It's just been the, like, it's been our own misplays of, like, putting units in the wrong slot, or not realizing that certain parts of a unit's kit were active or weren't active, right? But yeah, we have been getting pretty lucky with our ability to select certain key spheres that units need and things like that, so it is working, it is working. Okay, we should definitely be fine here. Yes, double-digit tanking that. You love to see it. Okay, and this unit does have a pretty massive cooldown with his super attack. So the fact that he just supered there, his cooldown is 10 attacks, so he's not going to be doing any slot 1 supers or anything this turn. Those are definitely going to come later in the rotation. Let's see here. Ideally, I really would love to save the, I would love to save the Janemba Rage modes for the final phase, just to be able to delete his super attacks and stuff, especially because I'm glancing forward. He has a cooldown of 0 and a 20% chance to launch the super attack, which means a lot of the time you're going to expect to see a slot 1 super happen. So yeah, using those rage modes is going to be really helpful for us in that final phase, so I'm definitely not going to use them here. But with that being considered, that just means we got to be a little bit careful because we're susceptible to taking damage. Okay, let me remind myself, he doesn't need physical orbs, right? Just key spheres in general. Yeah, for every key sphere obtained, and then the additional with Super Boss's category ally or the enemy. Oh yeah, he's actually not getting that unless the Rose is with him. Okay, but yeah, it's any key spheres, so he doesn't have to select physical key spheres, because I was considering grabbing all these with Janemba, and then allowing him to get the physicals that are left, but I feel like that's not going to be as many orbs. So maybe I should do, like, this? Or I should probably grab these, right? Yeah, because the Majin Vegeta wants a lot of orbs as well. So that should work out fine. Yeah, we can grab the 11 orbs for him. Let's double check what his defense is at. 780. Okay. And then for Majin Vegeta, this is the only way that we can get 6 orbs plus a rainbow. So we will go ahead and do that. We don't have a super key hungry next rotation. Actually, yeah, we do, because we have the physical Rose there. But he is going to be able to get his domain up, so he'll be looking a little bit stronger for us. Alright, I will admit I am quite worried about the physical Rose on this next rotation here, because obviously we're not going to go with the situation of having him in slot 1, like we did before, because we saw he can't tank the super that happens here. Oh, are we going to be okay? I don't think we're fully built up yet. Oh, man, yeah. That was kind of the worry there, right? Of what I mentioned with his 10-turn cooldown, that we weren't going to see a slot 1 super. Okay. I think the main problem we're having right now is that STR phase is just too much for all of these physical characters. So I think with that considered, what we're going to do is we're just going to switch fights. It's seeming like too much work to try and get to that final phase. So we are just going to take on the Universe Survival Saga fight here instead. And then we'll deal with the STR right up front. Which I guess we can compare the stats here. Let me have you guys be a part of this process. So let's switch over to the wiki view. Okay, so with this previous fight, we were dealing with, on that STR phase, we had a 700,000 normal attack output, and then 2.1 million on the super attack. Now we're dealing with 750 attack output and 2.1 million. So this is an equally hard stage, except for it's got 50 million less HP. Okay, but it does have stacking damage reduction. So that it's basically going to be equivalent. This is like the exact same level of power on the stage. But the super attack's not going to hit quite as hard, just because this one raises attack and this one doesn't. So yeah, this fight overall should be a little bit easier for us, I guess. And then one added benefit that we have from this fight is that because it comes up right away, the physical Rose will have that 1 turn of guard, right? Alright. How do we want to do this? Okay, I'm gonna grab the 1 orb here. And then we can get those 10. That's gonna be nice. He again, is not built up or anything, so that's gonna be the scary part to face here. But yeah, obviously none of these units are built up at all, so this first phase is gonna be a little bit scarier to get through. That's like the one benefit of that Super Saiyan 3 Goku fight, is that the Golden Great Ape at least gives you 1 phase first to build up. So I don't know. There's benefits and downsides. So we'll see here. We'll see if we can get lucky. But I think the biggest benefit of this stage is that if we do end up getting through this first phase, we're going to have a much easier time. Okay, well, you just can't get supered like that right away. That's not going to cut it. But yeah, the biggest benefit is that if we do make it through this first phase with this team, oh, we're out of reels for this. I guess we can go 1 run without the reels and see if we can make anything happen without the support memory. But yeah, then we're going to be facing off against solely int units, so we're going to have a much easier time, right? I guess with that being considered, maybe we should try and, like, item through this first phase. Maybe that could be a good idea. We should be perfectly fine here, because we've got guard across all 3 units, as well as a lot of other really impressive abilities, right? Okay, so for this first phase here, we definitely want to keep the Int Janemba on, just for dealing out as much damage as possible. We're not able to get a single Rainbow Orb for Rose there, so that's kind of bummy. But then we'll grab these. Okay, and the super is going to be dodged right away. That is perfect. Yeah, this is one of those rare teams where you kind of do want to see the slot 1 supers coming out, because our Janembas are the ones that are going to be able to tank it, and it's really all of our, like, slot 2 units and those other floaters that we've got going around that are going to be, like, really susceptible to taking a lot of damage on supers. So yeah, this is definitely the best the most ideal situation to see that super go right away. And then because it was the very first attack, that means all of these other attacks on the rotation are going to act as that cooldown. So with that 9 attack cooldown, he is going to be almost ready to super again by the time the next turn starts, right? That is going to be quite big for him. Or I guess quite big for us, not big for him. Because we want him to be doing the slot 1 supers, right? Let's see, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so there were 8 attacks after his super. So he only has to do 1 more attack before he has the potential to super attack again. Okay. That was a healthy enough amount of damage for the first turn. I'll take that, considering we didn't really have any build up yet, right? Okay. I think we're gonna do this. Just because of where we were talking about with that super attack, right? The first attack cannot be a super. The second attack can be, but it only has a 15% chance to proc on that attack. I think it's much more likely that we see the super attack come out in the middle slot there against Janemba. So just based on that RNG-ish prediction, we're going to go with this. The only thing that hurts is that we only were able to select 5 orbs with Goku Black, but he will at least be post-super by the time he does heal his attacks, so that should help us. I really want to save orbs for the next turn, but I think this is still going to probably be the best idea. This, and then, yeah, these. Okay, we have all those reds, which is nice. We might be able to get those to fall decently on this next turn. Ah, no double super. Dang it. Okay. That really does hurt him. He is, like, so bad before he has the ability to tank. Man. It almost seems like in order to survive their first turn, we're going to need to have Goku Black and Rose on the same rotation. Did it happen this time? Let's see. No, he's slot 7. Maybe we can try and survive the first 2 turns just dry. And then with that, like... Yeah, okay, so at this point, I've reached the point where I think using items is probably going to be smart here. So in order to try and get us through, we probably will depend on using an item or two. Okay, an item or two, it's literally all we have. So yeah, I think... okay, so with him in slot 7... Oh no, that rainbow orb fell bad. Okay, so we just lose again if he's there. I don't... We can't risk that. Without his extra damage reduction, Janemba would be just dumb, so... Great, I'm glad that the rainbow orbs just kind of screwed us right there. That was so stupid. Okay, well at least the super attack is coming out early. We should be okay here. It's a lot of damage, but we survived it at least. But yeah, so we'll try and survive these first 2 turns dry, which is not looking super probable at this point, with what just happened. But if we are able to survive the first 2 turns, then on that 3rd turn, if we don't have a way to hide Goku Black, then we can just pop an item, maybe, to allow him to take some of those hits that he'll need in order to buff his passive up. Because that's the thing about hiding him, too, right? He does need to take those hits in order to raise his stats. So he's going to have to get hit at some point. But I suppose if we could possibly wait until one of the int phases for him to start taking damage, then he would be a little less susceptible to just getting absolutely creamed out the gates, right? And then obviously there's like no chance that we're going to be able to finish this phase off in 2 turns for him to not have to face off against it at all. So the best case scenario would be like what we got there, where there was no slot 3 attack to have to worry about. Okay, and then same deal here. We want to rotate off the Rose. I kind of want to just get him out of here because he is like by far the weakest unit that we've got to deal with, right? He does have the guard up, so we should be okay against that singular attack that's there. And then we will try to select all these rainbow key spheres with him as well. Give him some additional attacks. Nice. 4 is going to be good. That is nice and helpful. Okay, so the only real worry this turn is that our HP is super low. So we kind of can't tank a super attack. Though it was a slot 1 super that kind of destroyed us last time, so maybe we'd be a little bit better if we were post super attack here, which obviously if it happens this turn, we will be. Oh, my music paused. Keep going. Alright, well, we're doing a solid 0 damage with the physical Janembas here. We've got to give them a little bit more time to build up, and then once we get there, we'll be hoping for crits, obviously, and they'll be doing a little more damage. Okay, and there is the super attack. We're at least post-super this time, so yeah, there we go. Now he tanks it perfectly fine. That checks out. And that's good, because now that means that Rose is only going to have to tank a normal. And he should be getting quite a few attacks in here, because he'll have the first attack just from his passive. We got 4 rainbow orbs, so that's going to be 4 additional attacks that he'll be doing. And then on top of those 4, he'll have at least 1 guaranteed additional super, plus potentially the hidden potential system additional as well. So there's going to be a big onslaught of attacks here, for sure. Not that they're really doing anything. They're basically doing 0 damage, but nonetheless, it's helping his defensive capabilities out. So that's the name of the game. That's what we're in it for, right? Alright, and that was the hidden potential system right there? Correct, okay. Okay, so we get our fusion into Majin Vegeta, perfect. Or I guess our transformation, rather. Okay, so now we've reached that same situation where we do not have any protection for Goku Black, unfortunately. So what we're going to need to do here, then, is Whis up. Now, the question is, do we do 1 Whis or 2? That's the real question. I think if we just run it with 1 Whis, we'll be okay. That's my hunch. So let's throw 1 Whis on there. And then, again, I don't think we're... unless we get lucky with the way those orbs fall at the top. Because I'm thinking of selecting this here. But Majin Vegeta's probably not going to get the 6 orbs. Yeah. And then if we give Majin Vegeta the extra rainbow orb here for the extra damage reduction, which he kind of needs, then Goku Black has like no orbs at all to select. So he's going to be looking very bad this turn. Maybe I should keep him on rotation. Well, I mean, the only thing that helps him with is getting Big Bad Bosses active. But either way, I feel like we're going to have to double Whis here. I don't think he's going to survive off a single Whis, unfortunately. Especially because our HP is so low. So yeah, let's go ahead and pop the other Whis. The orbs are just very unfortunate this turn. They're really not working out. Yeah, that kind of does suck. Okay, well... actually, with that considered, because we have the double Whis up anyway, let's just forego getting the rainbow orbs for Majin Vegeta. Because he's going to be perfectly fine with the double Whis, and then that way we can actually get 5 orbs selected with Goku Black instead of just the 2, which is, he's going to need all the help he can get right here. So. Because I am just worried about a super attack, right? Even through 80% damage reduction, I could definitely see Goku Black just taking an L. Okay, so with both of our items blown, we're going to have a safe turn here, and then the next turn will be a safe turn as well. And then beyond that, we're just kind of on our own at that point. So that is quite scary, actually. Man, oh man. I can very easily see how this is like one of the hardest missions in the game right now. This is quite insane. Okay, there we go. We at least do take a couple of hits with him, which is nice. To give him that extra buffing that he's going to need for future rotations. Eesh, this sucks. Okay, so we're going to grab that orb. We know we want to keep him on rotation for sure. Again, the problem here is that if we rotate off, or if we don't keep him linked up, then he's not going to be doing nearly as much damage, and we really, really have to get out of this phase as quickly as possible. But then the problem is, once our item wears off, I would rather not have the fat Janemba on rotation. I would rather have the other Janemba around to be able to tank attacks and stuff. Something's telling me this is the right answer, though, so let's go ahead and run it like this, see how we do. Alright, and then we do have Rosé coming back next. We gotta get all the healing we can in here, so let's grab that. That was very, very good for our healing, though. I do like that. Okay, yeah, see, we really just need him to be pulling these 20 million attack stats. That's so important for the amount of damage we're doing. So, obviously, this would not be happening right now. These would be probably like 8 million attack stats if we didn't have the fat Janemba linked up with him. So, yeah, for that reason, I think it might be the right choice. What we decided to go with here, but only time will tell. Because obviously that means that soon enough we're going to have a rotation with basically 2 of our slot 3 units on the same rotation because we didn't rotate Fat Janemba here. Yeah, I think once we get to the next phases, it'll be a little bit less nerve-wracking to have the double Super Janemba rotation. Just because the physical Janemba will be the one that we want to be doing all the damage dealing anyway. Are we just done here? Because our item just wore off. Now we don't have Whis. And physical Goku Black has nothing. Yeah, he actually has nothing. We kind of got to give him all the links we can give him, being up in this second slot here. But he's going to have to tank 4 attacks on only 1 Rainbow Key Sphere. So yeah, this is actually really bad. Alright. Well, yeah, is what it is. All of a sudden, it's looking like on this second fight, the RNG is just not looking quite as good. It's unfortunate, but is what it is. All right, well, we'll see how we do here. My hunch is that Rosé is just going to get blown out of the water right now. I guess that was our mistake rotating him off on turn 5 or on turn 2 because then he came back on turn 5, and we really needed him to be back on turn 6 to activate the domain. I'm almost wondering if it would be better to like take Rosé off the team again. Try and rotate somebody else in. That might be a little bit better defensively than him. Because, yeah, he's just gonna... Alright, getting the extra super attacks there definitely helps. Then we're gonna need all the defense we can get. But his defense started so low at the start of the turn, I don't think he's gonna be able to build up enough. Okay. Well, it's enough to kind of tank the normals. We didn't get KO'd at least, so that's good. And again, that was with Big Bad Bosses active, so I'm kind of glad that we put him slot 2, I guess, for that reason. Have we seen a super attack yet this turn, though? I didn't pay too close of attention if Janemba got supered. If not, then we might still be in trouble here. Because again, our HP is pretty dramatically low at the moment. And a normal? Yes, okay. There we go. Now we have a really, really good chance for there to be a slot 1 super. Oh, and that was actually the blessing that we needed because now there's 1 slot that doesn't have to worry about taking attacks. So we can possibly prioritize having... Yeah, maybe we should put Goku Black there. You know, and the only thing that really sucks here is... Okay, so linking up the 2 Janembas gives us the Metamorphosis link, which adds 5% healing. That's really good. Again, we need all the HP we can get right now. The other thing that's really bad about this, though, I mean, and it's nice that Goku Black's not going to have to take any attacks this turn, but the problem is we're going to finish off this phase soon, and then we're going to be facing off against an int enemy where we would much rather have physical Goku Black on rotation than the Tech Fat Janemba. So I'm almost tempted to do this. Because we've still got big bad bosses up, we just lose that little bit of healing is the only thing, right? I think I'm going to do this because of that. And then the only scary part becomes if we're unable to KO this guy. Well, regardless, I don't think that Fat Janemba is going to do that much better of a job of tanking than the physical Goku Black. Well, maybe. It's really tough to say. It's kind of scary. Because we could get the 2 rainbow orbs that he would need in order to get the extra damage reduction. So let's see, 200,000 defense. It's really hard to say because we don't know how high Goku Black's defense is going to get, right? Especially because he'll be post-super at that point. And I mean, he is full additional. I really need to give him equips. Oh, he's full additional, but even with the additionals, he doesn't get the extra... Oh, I see, I see. So yeah, his defense isn't going to buff on super attack. Okay, that really does hurt him then. Then yeah, I think probably Janemba's going to be the best way to go. Unfortunate as it is, I really would like to keep the Goku Black around. Let's go ahead and do this. And then yeah, he was only going to be able to get like 6 orbs or so, so this is probably the most optimal way to run this specific turn. Okay, we've got 340k to work with here. We really want to see the super launch against the Janemba, so we can just straight up dodge that. And we also want to see some crits come in here, please. Get this phase finished off. Yes, one more. And crit. Just be done with it. Oh, no. Okay, well, we'll dodge this. Oh, he just didn't even dodge it. So are we still just done for? Yeah. Wow. Okay, massively unlucky. Well, we almost made it through. So yeah, it looks like now... I do like this strat here. It looks like we're going to get to a place where we can actually start to survive. Because obviously post that phase, a lot of our units are going to be a lot stronger. So... I guess... Eesh, how should we do this? Let me pick up some more reels really quick so we can get that support memory activated again, and then we'll jump back in. Okay, so we had not a great rotation here on the first. Let's see if we can just survive it, though. I don't want to use an item right away if we don't have to. So let's see if on, like, orb selection alone, that will be enough for Goku Black to tank. Because as long as we can survive through the first couple of turns here, then we would be good to go. And then obviously the later that we can wait to use our items, the better. And then let's see. We do want to save a lot of these orbs for the next rotation as well. So we'll just grab that one orb there. This should be fine. Alright, so again, obviously very worried about Goku Black. So hopefully we can maybe get like a double super in there or something. Because these first couple of hits are definitely going to hurt him, right? And if he gets supered, we are just immediately done for. Okay, well, there we go. The super came out at an opportune time for us. Okay, so 300k is just too much. Okay, so we did live. We did live. Barely. But yeah, it really looks like if he has to take more than one attack on his first turn, it's just not going to be it. Yeah, definitely not. He, how many orbs was that selected? Like 8 or something? And he was still taking that much damage. So yeah, that is good to know, I guess. But we do still have access to our double Whis, so this isn't a completely done run yet. You know, obviously we do have access to some decent healing. In a couple, we're going to have to survive a couple of turns before that, though. Obviously, you know, some of these units do need a chance to build up their defense before the orb selection is going to allow them to heal much. Alright. This is a pretty scary turn. We will get, I guess, a small bit of healing in, though. Again, I don't think we need to use any items yet. Pretty much we're so early in the fight at this point that I kind of just want to bank on getting lucky to survive through this turn. And if we end up getting unlucky, then I guess we'll just jump back in. And the way that we would get unlucky is if the super attack launches in either of those last 2 slots, which I suppose it could because of the cooldown being 9. I think it launched late enough in the last turn that we're not quite there yet. Maybe it could happen right here. That would be obviously very ideal if the super attack happened right now. Okay. Well, actually not, I guess, especially because Janemba just got hit by that attack. He would have gotten hit by the super, and we would have just gotten KO'd the exact same way we did on the previous rotation, right? Okay, so we can take the normals, but yeah, I was going to say, the super, when it comes out, like, we're done for here now. Oh, no, we're not. Wow. Okay, he can tank that. That's good to know. That is actually very good. Okay, so then that was pretty ideal for us anyway. I guess because Janemba was going to get hit by that attack that was there, that was the best place for the super to be. Because obviously Rose wouldn't be able to tank it, but he should be able to tank the normals perfectly fine. Barring we get some extra super attacks here. There we go. Just to allow us to raise that defense a little bit more. Makes me a bit more comfortable. Because obviously we don't want to accept anything but a double-digit tank with how low our HP is right now. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and now this is the rotation here where we do not have a choice. We have got to get that item active. Our HP is still so low, and there's so many attacks that are going to happen against both of these units that I do not have faith in to tank attacks, so here's what I'm thinking. We bank on the super attack being in that second slot so we can still keep our Janemba on rotation. Because this would be a death sentence. There's no way we could do this, right? Regardless of surviving this rotation, I just mean in reference to future rotations. Then coming back and not having, like, any of our super Janembas on rotation would be a bad idea. So I'm thinking we do this. Because we have the 1 Whis active, we'll just do 1 Whis. This should be enough for both the first slot and third slot units to tank normals. And then hopefully that super attack will be in the second slot. This is just going to basically allow us to savor the item usage a little bit here. And then with this, we can get our full passive active for Janemba. So he's got all the extra damage reduction from the Whis and from his passive. And then now we just have to try and set up the board in a way where Goku Black can get a lot of orbs. What are our defense numbers looking like? Janemba is also at 850k. So I'm very tempted to select, like, all of these just so that he could get a bunch of healing in. But then obviously that's going to screw up the board as far as Goku Black being able to select anything. So I think this is the happy medium. We'll go like this to get a little bit of healing in for Janemba. And then that way we can still get 6 orbs in there and we get a little bit more healing. Okay, so we've got 300k to work with. Nice, obviously a double-digit tank coming in there at the front. We knew because he's still on super attack cooldown that wasn't going to be a super. Okay. And then, yeah, this is like the really important part, is that super attack kind of has to launch in this middle slot. Because even through the item protection, I think Goku Black would just get absolutely wasted right here, right? Okay. And super? And super? No, he didn't super. Okay, so then we're done again, right? I guess unless we get lucky enough that he just doesn't super attack at all this turn. Okay, alright, did we just get lucky? Oh, wow. Okay, awesome, awesome. So he just didn't super at all. That is definitely helpful. Okay, and then now we should be pretty safe. We know there's a slot 1 super coming in, like, almost guaranteed, since he went that entire turn without supering. Yeah, more likely than not, there's going to be a slot 1 super here. I think we're going to go ahead and keep physical Janemba on rotation. Especially with the extra damage reduction up. Let's see. Okay, so we'll grab these orbs with him here. Yeah. These ones. And then we could get a little bit more healing, but I think I would rather prioritize getting the 6 orbs with Majin Vegeta here. Just for that extra attack power, because I really want to get through this phase as quickly as we can here, right? And then with the last Janemba, I guess we can just select the 1 purple orb here to try and keep the board as active as possible for the next rotation. Not waste any rainbow Keyseer selections or anything that are unnecessary. Okay, so no super attack in that very first attack that happened. Surely it's got to happen here, though, right? Come on now, super. Wow, it still hasn't happened. Okay. Well, nonetheless, Majin Vegeta's at 66% damage reduction plus the damage reduction from the Whis, so even if the super attack ends up coming out here, we're still going to be fine. And then we do also have a really good chance to just straight up dodge it in that final slot if it is there, right? But obviously, I do want it to come out as early as possible. That way it will continue to come out as early as possible on the next rotation as well. Okay, there we go. So we do get the super in the middle slot there. But yeah, there's only going to be another like 3 or 4 attacks, so we're probably not going to get slot 1 supered on the next turn either, which is kind of bad. Kind of bad. Okay. Let's see, and unfortunately we're looking at a turn 5 Rose again. We really want to rotate him off. Man, oh man. I guess we kind of have to do this. Well, I mean, we don't... okay. Rose is an absolute fish right here. Rose has nothing to protect him. And we were just talking about how we know that there's not a slot 1 super, which means it's more likely that there's a slot 2 super. So I think what we do again here is we go Whis, and then, yeah, we run the rotation like this. So we'll keep him in the first slot. Oh, man, we're not able to get the 4 type key spheres. Ah, that hurts. Okay, well, we get the extra damage reduction, and with the Whis, he should be fine as well. And then we'll grab all of these. Janemba's defense should be quite high, yeah. Okay, cool. So we'll get a lot of healing in with that. There we go, basically back to full. And then, oh, nice. This actually works out pretty well. We can get 4 rainbow orbs. Okay, there we go. So with the Whis active, we should definitely be safe this turn. Definitely not going to be a problem. I would have liked to get that extra support passive active from the Tech Janemba here. Just didn't quite happen. But, alright, he is still looking at like 50% of his HP left. We're going to start needing to get some critical hits in here really bad from these physical Super Janembas. We just need all the extra damage that we can do. Because once we're out of items, there's not going to be any way to provide any extra protection for these characters, right? The physical Goku Black is just going to have to straight up deal with whatever defense he's got. Same thing with Rose, right? So... yeah, I guess the only benefit, the only, like, nice part about it is that the next time we see Rose come back around, we'll be able to activate his domain. So he'll at least have a little bit of extra strength from that. But yeah, just the heavy amount of physical units. We're doing, like, no damage. We had a much better offensive bout on the last attempt, because we actually managed to get him all the way down to, you know, like 1 bar of HP remaining. And it's turn 5, and he still has 50% of his HP right now. So yeah, this is actually really, really bad. Yeah, pretty soon we're going to start seeing all the, like, the Janemba active skills and stuff pop up, and we're not ready to use those yet at all. We still have 2 whole phases of this fight to get through, so... yeesh. Alright. So, obviously, we want to keep the physical Janemba right up front. But then... who's second? That is the real question. And oh man, okay, if we drop this, do those fall pretty? No, not at all. Okay. Well, we do have the Whis up again, so we kind of are going to be dependent on that right now. We should be fine here with Goku Black in the second slot. This is a bit of a risk for sure, but I think let's go ahead and risk that. And then that way we can get the full passive active for Majin Vegeta there. Hopefully that should seal the deal damage-wise between the Majin Vegeta's attacks this turn and then the Int Janemba's attacks next turn. Hopefully that should be enough to fully take down this phase. And again, some critical hits would really be appreciated if we could, possibly. Ugh. Alright, well, at least the super attack comes out where we want to see it. So now we know we only have to deal with normals for the rest of the turn. It's good. Okay, and his defense is still looking quite meek, I could imagine. Yeah, that's still a lot of damage, which I knew he wasn't going to be tanking perfectly or anything, but I was just hoping that we wouldn't straight up get killed from a normal, right? Alright, that's decent damage, like that, 18 million. If we could crit as well, that would be very, very helpful. Okay, unfortunately not. Okay, so... do we leave the rotation like this and rotate off the physical Janemba, or is that dumb? I think that's probably a bad idea, right? Like, ideally, I kind of want to keep both of them on rotation. Like, this would be the most ideal way to do the rotation. But yeah, it just hurts the damage output that we're doing. And look at the next turn. We have so many physical units and stuff. We are going to be able to proc the domain immediately, so that will be nice. I think... I don't know what the right answer is, to be honest with you. Okay, let's just do this. And then we can try and get all these physical orbs in for some healing. And then actually, if all these purple orbs fall proper, of course they don't. Oh, wow. We have no passive active for the Tech Janemba. We're just done for here. There's nothing we could do. Yeah. Does he raise defense on Super? He does raise defense on Super, which means I have to prioritize grabbing those orbs rather than giving him the Tech Orb for the healing. Okay, so, yeah, basically because of the way that orbs fell, we're just done for. Dude, this team is so ass. It is so hard to make anything happen. I'm really not sure what we're supposed to do here. Like, it's turn 7. We had such a better offensive time on the last run. It's turn 7, dude. We've survived so long. We even split up our item usage this time to not have the double Whis active at once, and it still wasn't enough. He's still got so much HP. Like, the Tech Janemba is just absolutely going to get destroyed in that final slot here. We're done for. There's nothing we can do. Yeah. Do we live? Oh, wow. We actually lived. Okay. Barely, but we did. Okay, well, now we have no choice but to get that domain up. Actually, technically, we do have a choice. Hold on here. What if we do this? What if we grab a couple orbs here for some healing, grab some more orbs here for some healing. He's only got 1 bar of HP left. And that's a lot of healing that we just got in there. So potentially we could survive through this turn without the domain. And then that way we could wait just that 1 extra bit to activate it. Let's try that. Let's try this. I think that's smart. If we get really... Okay, so we got lucky with the super attack placement. That's perfect so far. If we get really unlucky with the attack output here, then maybe that could have been a mistake. But we're just going to need like 1 critical hit. Yes, there we go. Awesome. Okay, so we get the critical hit. We didn't have to waste the 1 turn of the domain. Now we finally move on from that first phase. Okay, so now what we're dealing with is a tag switch Goku Frieza. So every turn they're going to be tag switching back and forth between. The HP pool just doubled, but now we have a lot more protection because we've got all of these physical units around that are going to be able to help out, right? And then this guy does have guard, right? Oh, only when HP is 50% or less he's guarding. Otherwise, he just has the 33% damage reduction, and then we can get the extra damage reduction there. And then, okay, he guards with 6 key spheres as well. Okay, so let's see if we can make some magic happen here. I guess probably the best way to run it then would be to do this. Yeah, that way we can make sure he gets the Rainbow Orb and the 6 orbs right here. Leave that whole side of the field unaffected. There we go. He should have some good tanking. And then Janemba probably only needs the 1 Int Orb. And then we'll be fine. Yeah. Oh, the other thing I want to take a look at really quick. So, the Goku Frieza can be stunned. Or the Frieza can be stunned, and then the Goku that tag switches into can be sealed. So, let me take a look at all of my super attack effects really quick and just make sure if I have any of those abilities around. Great chance of stunning. So, he has a great chance to stun the enemy. That is good to know. Definitely good to know. Which I guess I'm curious to see if those are going to roll off when he tag switches, right? Yeah, it will, because it's not the same character. So those stuns are only going to stun Frieza for those 2 attacks right there. If we do end up stunning, it'll just stun him for those 2 attacks that are post Majin Vegeta, and then when we tag switch into Goku, obviously he won't be stunned because it's a different character. So yeah, that's interesting to know. And then it looks like that was their only ability for that across the entire team. Nobody else has any stunning or sealing anything in their kits. These guys have a 0 attack cooldown, so they're going to be slot 1 supering quite a bit for us. Which I guess makes sense why they can be stunned and sealed, because they have the ability to do those slot 1 supers. But we have our physical super Janembas that are going to be in slot 1 every single turn anyway, so we'll be perfectly fine there. And then, yeah, Majin Vegeta. Okay, this actually works out really well. So, as long as we keep Majin Vegeta on this rotation here, then we're going to be fine. We tank with the slot 1 Janemba, and then Majin Vegeta stuns on his super, and then we're just safe, right? And then on this opposite rotation, we don't have the ability to seal any super attacks, unfortunately. But same deal, we're going to be able to just have physical Janemba in slot 1. Oh, we can do the transformation as well. Interesting. Let me ponder if that's going to be a good idea or not. What's the super attack percentage? 10%. So this guy has a 0 cooldown for his super attacks. He can do a max of 1 per turn. And then his super attack has a 10% chance to proc, which means probably we're going to do this. This is probably how we're going to set up the rotation. Let me see if this transformation... First of all, is it permanent? Okay, it is a permanent transformation. Let me see what it does. I believe it just turns into, like, he's just a regular attacker and he loses, like, the support pieces of his kit now. Let's see. So he only guards for 1 turn. And then he just has a high chance to evade. No. Yeah, that's not better. I kind of like him how he is now with the extra damage reduction and stuff. So yeah, we are going to opt not to transform him. Okay, so with all of this being considered, let's go ahead and grab all of those. Oh. Interesting. Okay, hold on. So a couple things just happened here. One, we just procced the Dokkan attack. So that's going to be huge. The second is because we healed, now we can use the Janemba Rage mode. So, with the Janemba Rage mode, there's a couple of things to consider. One is that the enemy will waste his super attack for the turn. So that will be good. But with the way these tag switches go, I think they might just tag switch, right? That is definitely possible. Let me go ahead and proc it. Let's just go ahead and do the rage mode now. Because the thing I'm worried about is if we proc the rage mode and then we come back post rage mode, he is going to be, his attacks might be set up in different slots, and he might have like a slot 1 super or something coming out at us. That's what I'm a little bit worried about with proccing the rage mode here. I think because of that, I'm actually going to wait. Maybe that could be a mistake, but let's see. Yeah, I think I am going to wait to do the rage mode. Because we'll be able to do it again on the next turn, right? So, okay. I guess we'll select the blue key sphere. And then for this guy to get his full passive active here, we'll grab all of these orbs. Yeah, perfect. Okay, this is going to be quite a good turn from Goku Black. We did get a lot of orbs with him, so this is going to be a pretty heavy damaging Dokkan attack. Hopefully we can crit with it too. Would be nice. What was that, 18 million attack stat, looks like? But yeah, the crit would definitely help us out here a lot. Getting a really big chunk of this enemy's HP down now would be good. Okay, there we go. We'll take that. We'll take that. Nice. A very, very impressive looking turn from physical Janemba as well. So yeah, here's the part where the physical Super Janembas are going to be able to kind of take over, right? And actually provide a lot of good damage dealing throughout the rest of the fight. There we go. Okay, perfect. And we see the super attack happen exactly where we want it to. That works out for us. And then now the question mark is just, do we survive the normal attacks at the end here, right? That is the only thing. Because he does raise his attack after super. Ugh. So yeah, those hurt a little bit. Obviously, he is somewhat weak, so I'm glad that we were able to get his full passive active at least. And then we fully heal ourselves there at the end with the Dokkan attack, so that's good. Okay, perfect. So now we have access to, again, the domain here. So the domain is going to be active for 4 turns. Now is definitely when we want to get this thing procced, right? Oh, here's the thing, though. Let me read it, because Frieza is actually... might get effects from it. Let me see. Super bosses, categories, enemies and allies, 10%, plus an additional for characters who are also extreme class. Okay, so only super bosses will be getting the buff. I don't think that Frieza is on super bosses. I'm pretty sure they're not. Let's see. I'm just taking a look at the card on the side. Yeah. They're on superheroes, but not super bosses. Okay. So even though the Frieza is extreme class, he's still a part of superheroes because of the Goku Frieza unit, not super bosses. Okay, good to know, good to know. Just needed to make sure of that, to make sure that Frieza wasn't going to be hitting us harder, right? Okay, so we should be safe there. And then even with the domain up, I'm still going to rotate Goku Black off. He is the only person getting the advantage from the domain here, and then the physical Goku Black on the opposite rotation will as well. But yeah, we'll go ahead and keep that activated. Alright, and then now we're kind of in the exact same position here again, where I am a little bit nervous to use the rage mode. I think that the smartest way to use those rage modes is to give yourself the ability to reset the rotation if it's not set up in a favorable way. But this is set up in a favorable way. Rose doesn't have to take any attacks at the end there. We have a load of attacks all there at slot 1 for Janemba to be able to tank the potential super attack coming out. And then Majin Vegeta can stun in the second slot and not have to take any of those attacks. So, yeah, yet again, I think the right answer here is going to be to not use the rage mode and screw up the potential attacks that we would have to take. Okay, and then now It doesn't look like Majin Vegeta is going to be able to get the 6 orbs, because if I grab this one, that purple orb is going to fall down and block the path to the green ones. So we'd be getting 4 orbs. And then if I grab these, I'm pretty sure that the yellow and the red are going to fall into place here. I guess this is probably the best option, though, because... Yeah, I was going to say, we still had a chance for those orbs at the top to proc. Okay, so we don't get the 6 key spheres for the extra damage dealing, which is fine. But we still get the rainbow orb for the damage reduction, which is the most important thing. But most likely, he's not going to have to take any damage anyway if we do stun him, as we are planning to, right? Okay, and then looking forward at the next rotation, we have Int Janemba, Physical Goku Black, and Physical Janemba. So I think I'm going to grab all these orbs, just that way we can free up a lot of those Int and Physical ones coming down for the next turn. Yeah, that looks good to me. Alright, now let's just hope that we see a super attack proc here. I want to see that super attack come out as quickly as we possibly can see it. Obviously, post-super, but still in slot 1 would be the most ideal case for it, right? Okay, we're looking pretty solid on damage. He's getting close to... Okay, so there was no super attack yet. He's getting close to being, like, under 50% HP. We're getting close. Let's see the stun come out, then. There we go. Awesome, so now we know we're not gonna have to worry about any more hit tanks or anything for the rest of the turn. So yeah, it seems like every turn from this point forward is basically gonna be a rinse and repeat of, you know, seeing if we should proc the Rage Mode to try and reset the enemy attacks or not. The one question mark that I have, because it's based on charges and not turn count, I'm pretty sure that even within the Rage Mode, if basically something that we could end up screwing up, right, is if... Okay, so right now we have access to the Rage Mode, right? If we activate the Rage Mode, we still are going to select orbs, which is going to deplete the charges that are available here, which means when we come back out of the Rage Mode, then we're going to be switched to the Frieza. And what that's going to cause is our one unit that's doing the stunning on Frieza will no longer be doing the stunning on Frieza because we'll be on the Goku fight on that rotation instead. But I guess... After saying that, I'm realizing we do have 2 Rage Modes that we could use. So it seems like the best way to possibly run it is use both the Rage Modes in a row, I guess. So, like, use the one, and then on the very next turn, just use the other one to then fix the rotation again that we immediately broke. I guess that's the right way to go with it. I'm not really sure, to be honest. Okay, and then, you know, the next question becomes... like, should we use it right here? Do we have a viable rotation, or should we just use the Rage Mode right away right here? Because everybody's gonna have to take some attacks. The board looks pretty nice. We're gonna be able to set up the board in a decent way for Goku Black to be able to select quite a few key spheres here and stuff. This is just a bit of an RNG fest right now, at this given moment. Maybe, what if I do this? Maybe this could be the right idea. Grab the one orb with him, and then get all these orbs with Goku Black. I really don't know if that's going to be the right answer or not. Let's see. Yeah, I really am contemplating just using... I mean, I guess, okay, here's the thing to consider, right? With this rotation anyway, we still have, like, attacks in every slot. So if we use the Rage Mode, it can't make the rotation worse. But also, like, we have a really strong defensive rotation anyway, so it doesn't really feel like we're gonna need the Rage mode here. And then the other part of it is the board looks very good. And that's another benefit that we'll get from using the Rage mode, is that it's going to fully reset the board for us once we come back. And we don't really need either of those benefits here. So I'm scared. Basically, I'm scared of using the Rage mode and then coming back and having an even worse turn than this to be available to us, right? So yeah, that's the part that scares me here about this. I'm not sure if what the best idea is going to be because of that. Okay, let's go ahead and forego using it. I think that's the final answer. We're going to forego using the Rage mode here. And then we've got 9 orbs there, 8 orbs there. Okay, so we'll get these 9 for Goku. Let's see what his defense looks like. At 1.2 million. The enemy has a 2.7 million damaging, like, super attack. Plus, he raises his attack by 30% when he does that, so he still can't tank a super. Even with all of that, he still can't tank a super. Okay, then that answers my question. I think we're going to go ahead and use the Rage mode. Hold on. I'm going to reset the app, because on the off chance that there is a super attack in slot 2 here, we would just get KO'd, right? So we are going to reset the app, and we'll come back and use the Rage mode. Okay, because obviously if, you know, the physical Goku Black were to only take normal attacks, then we would have been fine there, right? But yeah, we do want to use the Rage mode. I think is going to be the best idea here. Okay, well, we're definitely not going to be building back toward a Dokkan attack before the fight is over, so we don't have to worry about, like, selecting extra orbs and stuff before doing that. None of those cheeky strats apply, so let's just go ahead and proc the Rage mode right away. Okay. And then, there we go, we're able to get the first set of selection, very good. Okay, and then now we just need to be careful about keeping enough orbs available for when we jump out of the Rage mode again, right? I guess we grab these then. So we've got all those purples to depend on. Yeah, so again, now the board doesn't look as good as it could once we finish with the Rage mode here, but hopefully it'll be good enough, or hopefully, like, the attacks that we see from the Frieza will put us in a good spot. Alright, and then obviously these aren't going to do very much damage at all. But I think it's, with the team build that we've got, it's more important to make sure that the board is set up properly than it would have been to maximize all the key sphere selection here with the Super Janemba within the Rage mode, right? Probably true. Probably true. Okay. And then there is a super attack. But again, the problem is I don't know if it transfers. Okay, so it's still turn 12, right? But we are going to switch to fighting the Frieza now, I would imagine. Yeah. Okay, so the Frieza is still definitely going to have the ability to super, right? Oh, well, look at that. Okay, so... Okay. I think this is the right answer. I really think this is the right answer. There are so many attacks in that first slot there that the super attack is almost guaranteed to happen there. So remember, there's no cooldown for these super attacks, and he can only do it once per turn. So he's got a 10% chance to proc that super. We would have to get so unlucky for there to be only normals, all of that up front, and then for it to be a super attack a little bit later on, right? So I'm pretty sure this is going to be the best way to run the rotation. So with that being considered, we'll grab the 1 orb here. And then he's only going to get access to 7. Maybe even this. Well, the problem is with Int Janemba, you don't want him in slot 2. Because he's got the least likelihood of dodging and things like that, right? So I feel like it probably would be better just doing this. Okay, he only has to tank a normal, and we also have to keep in mind we do still have the domain active, which is buffing the physical Goku Black here. So, okay, that's going to be my final answer. Let's see what his defense looks like. Yeah, just over 1 million. That's going to be enough to tank normals, because the normals we're getting hit with here are only 800k. And he's got type advantage, right? So yeah, I think we'll be okay there. And then we have multiple tech units coming up. So yeah, I guess we could save all those techs, get them available here. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Oh, we're so close, dude. We're so close. I can almost taste it, you guys. We're right there. Come on, please super. Please super. Frieza. Frieza. Oh my goodness, please super. Ah, he didn't super. He's not supering. Oh no. Okay, well. Let's just hope that that last attack is a normal as well. That's all that really matters, is we need a normal attack there. Without a normal there, we would obviously be in very bad shape. But if we get a normal, then we're gonna live the turn, and then we can go for another rage mode, and then hopefully that would be the last turn of the fight, right? 20 million is a lot of damage. Nice. The additional crit, I guess, helps a little bit too. Nice, and it is a normal attack. Awesome. Okay, so there we go. We do live the rotation. A little bit of extra damage there from the Int Janemba is nice. Okay, perfect. Well, not perfect. Yeah, we have, look at this horrible, ugly rotation, right? So we are going to be able to fix this, no problem. All that we have to do is activate the rage mode again, so that we can switch back to Frieza, and then that way we can go slot 1 Janemba, slot 2 Majin Vegeta, and then the Majin Vegeta can stun, so that neither the Majin Vegeta or the Fat Janemba are going to have to take attacks, right? Okay, so yeah, again, we do want to try to conserve the orbs that we're going to have available to us on rotation. Coming up here... Oh my goodness, this looks so ugly. I do want to try to prioritize... Okay, yeah, there we go. I don't want to touch that left side at all because of all the orbs we have there, so I'm just going to do this. Yeah, we'll do that. And then when we come back, we'll select orbs on that right side for slot 1 as well, just to make sure that Majin Vegeta gets all those orbs selected that he can. Alright, we are very close there. It's almost happening. It's almost happening. Okay. Right, not doing really much damage at all here with those attacks, unfortunately. No big deal, though. We have got a plan. It is working out perfectly. So far, so good. Man, what a wall of attacks. Holy moly. That's quite intense. Okay. Okay, so no more rage modes. We have now exhausted that. We've basically exhausted every single thing that we have available, right? The only thing that we have left is the transformation with the Tech Janemba. But we already know that that's not something that we want to utilize throughout this fight, right? I think we would be much safer not ever using it. And again, we do want to keep him... Well, the enemy only has 2 bars of HP left, so we're going to be able to finish him on the next turn no matter what. So I think we should prioritize this. If we put the Fat Janemba there, because he's not going to have to take any attacks anyway, we only have to worry about that attack at the end. So worst case, if that attack at the end is a super attack, then the Majin Vegeta would have a much better time handling it than the Fat Janemba would anyway, even though both of them would probably get KO'd from it. But then it doesn't matter when we do the stun, whether we do it slot 2 or 3, because there's no other attacks there, right? Okay, so let's do this. We'll give this to Janemba, which will allow us to get the 4 type orbs and the 2 rainbow orbs, giving us the full support, his full passive active there. And then we can get the full passive for Majin Vegeta as well, because we have the 6 orbs selected plus the rainbow orb for the extra damage reduction. So there we go. This is a pretty perfect turn here. And then having Big Bad Bosses active is going to allow us to do a little bit of extra damage with this Janemba. That's perfect. 22 million. That's what we want to see. Can we see some critical hits in here? Any additionals would be nice. Nice. There we go. There we go. And the super attack comes out as well, so now we know we're guaranteed to live for the turn, even if we don't end up getting the stun off in that final slot. We will be perfectly fine. Alright, yeah, and then it's just going to be up to the physical Janemba and the Goku Blacks on the next rotation to finish this off. because we're probably not going to be able to do this here. I mean, maybe Majin Vegeta will have a really clutch turn. If he's going to need crits, but like his attack stat is definitely high enough to finish him off. He would just need a critical hit. So we'll see if it happens. No, but we do get the stun. Oh, actually, is this going to be enough without a crit? The 20 million, maybe. Let's see. It is. Wow. Okay, we did it. We did it. Alright, so it wasn't a no item clear. It was definitely not pretty. In fact, we had a really shaky start for the first half of that fight. It took us a solid like 7-8 turns to get through that very first phase. That was pretty rough. But we did get the mission cleared, so there we go. Corroded Body and Mind. Holy moly, that is very tough. Okay, so yeah, we got access to all of the bronze skill orbs. Because of clearing the stage. All you had to do was clear it to get those. And then this is going to be the gold skill orb for the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, right? Yeah, for the Golden Great Ape. Okay, so the only thing that we didn't get, unfortunately, were the, the silver slot orbs for doing the no item portion of the mission. But that is perfectly fine. Okay, so to go ahead and finish up, I know it's been over 2 hours now that we've been recording, but let me go ahead and apply our new skill orbs to the Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Okay, so the full amount of skill orbs he's got the level 9 defense, the 6 dodge and 6 defense, and then for the gold slot, he actually has a 6 additional attack and 3 defense, which is going to be giving him 900 more points of defense. I don't know that this one is too insane for him. I mean, I guess it makes sense once you get him transformed into the Super Saiyan 4 form that he's not really depending on dodge the same way he is for the early parts of the fight. And then at that point, you want him to get as many additionals as possible because he's infinitely stacking attack and defense. But I have found that this guy is more useful in slightly shorter form content, where for the most part, he is just in the Super Saiyan 3 form. I've found him to be more useful there, so I have... focused on those portions of his kit rather than the transformed part of his kit. So that being considered, I don't even know that I want to apply this gold skill orb. Let's take a look at him in game. As you can see here, I've got a full dodge build on the guy. I was actually lucky enough. This is the only 10th anniversary LR that I have at 79%. Everybody else is basically just 55. I think I have 69 on like 1 or 2 of them. But yeah, so they are just sitting here like this with a full dodge build. I maybe could see some service coming from the level 9 defense, especially because, again, post-transform, that will help him a lot. So I think I maybe like this idea, especially, oh yeah, it looks like I had the 2 combo and only the 1 evasion on him. So yeah, we'll get rid of the 1 point of evasion for that massive buff to defense. I think is going to be worthwhile. And then, again, once we get the no item clear, we'll come back and add the silver skill orb, because obviously it's just going to be a straight-up buff. Which is exciting too, because this is one of my EX skill orbs from the new, the 10th anniversary skill orb event, so I'll get one of my level 5s back that I can use on a different Earth Protecting Hero character. So that'll be nice. And then, yeah, for the gold slot, I think I do just want to prioritize having the level 5 dodge there, rather than, his type exclusive skill orb with the extra additional. So, there we go. That is going to go ahead and finish it up for the Corroded Body and Mind mission. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the links in the description below, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace!